If you go to a place that offers milkshakes, you're more likely to see lime as a flavor than you are to see, say, maybe banana. I would say lime is more popular than banana. I don't think I'm exaggerating here when I say that. Maybe viewers can correct. But I have seen lime a lot. I've never had one.
Crazy.
I've never had one. I saw it at this other cafe I went to the other day, a Splice Shake, which was a pineapple lime milkshake. And it was bright green, dare I say. It was bright green. And 2 people got it next to me, and it was $9 for the Splice Shake. But I did look at it and I went,
why was it green?
One day I will order it, because it's the color of so Splice is like an ice cream, right? And it's like a pineapple flavor with like almost like a green coating, lime coating kind of thing, but like a creamy center. Splice is like lice, but with SP in front of it.
Oh.
Like a splice.
Oh, that's news to
me. It might
be
an Australian thing, but it is
yes, it is.
Very delicious ice cream. You know, we're big on our ice cream when it gets hot here. We love it.
It's like
we love a little treat.
Lime and pineapple.
Yeah.
What's the flavor? That sounds
with like
good.
a soft
I like
vanilla center. But I think what I enjoy about it is they're separate. So in the milkshake, it kind of combines.
So it takes everything that you enjoy out.
Oh yeah, and it's just like, oh okay, now we've just got to. Now we're drinking it as well. The textural experience, everything about it is ruined.
Yeah,
but it's good.
I'm not big on. I don't know. I think like a really good milkshake, like a good milkshake, I like the idea of, but it really hurts my stomach.
Yeah.
So I just generally, I have to avoid.
But God, they hit when they hit. Let me tell you, I've been craving them recently, and I've been having some, and I'm like, it just makes me so happy when I have like I love milkshakes so much. They are so good, and you know, sometimes I'd like, you know, they hit me the same as a coffee does. I reckon, like they give me the same boost, and not because of like a chemical reaction, but of a happiness reaction. Like I go, oh my goodness, now I'm good.
Life is worth living. I have had a lime milkshake.
Yeah, sometimes have it as use it as a Ritalin substitute. Sometimes, sometimes are really tough.
ADHD hack: have you guys tried having a lime milkshake instead of stimulant medication
3 times a day?
No problem.
It is what it is. No,
George,
exactly.
Can you get a grip, my good sir?
It's Cat City over here.
It's fine. Elliot, how was your week?
Did we just skip when we say what the show is before
shit.
Week?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I don't want to let anyone down.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Kelliot. My name is Kel.
And my name is Elliot, and we are designers who care. Mm-hmm. We're singing it this time. That's me trying to lift my spirits. Go, trying to get out of... Like, I think I'm in the kind of energy right now where I need to like scream into a pillow, let everything out, and then go, like I need to like bark or something.
Right.
But I'll get it. We'll get there. Yeah. So what I'm saying is there will be a moment, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes from now, where I will start barking as a way of getting me out of this, and I will probably I'll probably do it off mic. But I will. You'll just hear
barking
me
in the distance.
Barking in the distance. Oh yeah, you'll see me like in the plant back there. Yeah. Anyway, hey Kel, how's your week been? How you doing?
My week's been good. I had a film crew come to my house last week, which was really fun, and filmed my office and interviewed me for a project that comes out next year, which I'm really excited about. And the team is so nice and wonderful, and I love all of them dearly. So it was cool to have them come to my house. And then what else did I do this week? God, again, I'm trying to claw my way out of my freelance shit. Truly, I am almost out of the woods, but I had a major label this week really fuck things up, for a lack of better terms. Like royal big time. Not my fault. Thank God.
Always a good thing.
Thank God.
Oh yeah.
But they, I think they really fumbled the bag with a project I've been working on. a project that is very important to me, and I'm not going to say what it is.
Do I know this project?
Yeah.
Is it what I'm thinking? Yeah, okay.
And they really dropped the ball on some stuff and ruining rollouts of things. So, because some labels are pretty good at marketing their artists and other labels historically bad at doing it. And this is a major label that people don't really sign to that much anymore for this reason, because this is the stereotype that they have acquired. Much like Atlantic Records. Atlantic Records is known for being shitty and not being good to their artists. That's just kind of the general vibe. A lot of people don't really like Atlantic Records anymore, unfortunately. They famously dropped Chapel Roan. So just so you know, the vibe that they bring to the table is...
I would get signed by them just to be dropped by them. I feel so.
Yeah.
I think that's a better sign for you as an artist, right? Like to go like, okay, I've been dropped by Atlantic. Now I actually can start my career.
Oh, they would have dropped Taylor Swift. It doesn't make any sense.
Is there anyone who's their top at right now, or anyone really? Because I feel like I don't know anything about it. I got no idea who's signed by any of these things.
Okay, they have 100 Gex, Bruno Mars.
Oh.
Charlie XCX.
Huh. What an eclectic mix. Bruno Mars hasn't released an album since 2016, apart from his Silk Sonic album with Anderson, under just Bruno Mars.
I mean, he just released that song with Lady Gaga.
Is that a sign of something to come potentially? But I think
know.
it's quite amazing how someone with such a small discography has made it work. So, you look back at Dolops and Hooligans from 2010, I think it was. I went into a little rabbit hole yesterday, and by rabbit hole I mean I just went on his Spotify page.
Right.
But every second song on that album was like a worldwide hit.
Yeah.
All of those albums that he released 3, and they were all huge. Quite amazing how. And, he's in Fortnite too, which is wild to me as well. Something that people at home might not know.
He has a skin?
Yeah, him and Anderson .Paak have skins.
That's insane.
His music is also in it.
Okay.
You can play as Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Yeah, it's truly... I'd like to think that's when you've made it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has how much gambling debt or whatever?
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot that was a whole part of the Bruno law.
Mars.
It's gambling.
I think it's gambling.
Updated 2024. It's something. It's not like sports betting, but I think it is. I think it's just casinos, like the classic, right? Producer, check that up. Look that up.
Amid rumors that the Grammy-winning singer and songwriter owed $50 million in gambling debt at a Las Vegas casino, the establishment's parent company has come to Mars' defense and dismissed the chatter as completely false.
I won't believe it until Bruno himself comes out and says, I owe nothing to a Las Vegas casino. That's wild.
I'm just going to clear the air right now. There is not a casino that I definitely don't owe money to.
He says that mid-song during a tour.
Moved into further settlements.
I would catch a grenade for you. He's probably still playing that song. Yeah. Remember the Lazy song? That's a great one to sing at a karaoke night. Yeah. Singing the Lazy song at karaoke really gets people uncomfortable, I think. Really gets people going, wow, this is a weird... Oh, that one as well, yeah. Anything by Maroon 5 or them, it's just a classic way of getting everyone going. This is what, but everyone knows the lyrics. We all know the lyrics to Payphone.
Maroon 5, songs about Jane.
Is that the album?
That's the album. That's the Maroon 5 album.
Yeah.
Sunday Morning. Heard of her?
Sunday morning got me waking up right. That's it. That's the one. Okay, good.
Definitely.
Just making sure. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it's a. So that was my week. This label fucked things up big time. So I'm mad about that. I had to work through the weekend and had to send them an email on Friday that it was one of the scariest emails I've ever had to send because I was so afraid because there were so many people on this chain.
Yeah.
And I I had to be like, hey, this is unreasonable.
Yeah. As you should. But that is scary because I would love reading an email like that if I saw it, if I was on it, right? You'd get like, here we go, a bit of drama, kind of thing. Oh, legit.
Yeah.
God, I hate sending emails like that. They ruined me. They absolutely ruined me.
It was really, I was like sitting here for like 25 minutes. I'd already written and I was just staring at it. And I don't have like that kind of anxiety in general on email. Like if I mess something up, I'm sweating buckets. I'm on the verge of throwing up. I'm spiraling royally. I need to call my therapist. But if it's not my fault, but I'm still trying to like be professional and like trying to draw some sort of boundary and say like, hey, this is an insanely unreasonable ask. I had been asking for this information for a really long time. And now you guys want it yesterday. And here's the thing, as my mother would always say to me growing up, lack of responsibility on your part does not constitute for emergency on my part.
Wow.
So
that's the title. That's the title of the episode. That's so good. The old classic, there is no such thing as a design emergency. Like truly, it'll be fine. Like,
and I'm like, it's not my fault you guys dragged your heels when I asked for print templates, when I asked for legal copy, when I asked for all of the production credits of everything. Like all of that, I asked for a long time ago, and you would think as a label, you would do your job.
Yeah.
And send me that stuff because it's actually not my job as a designer to go hunt down production credits. Yeah. That's not my job. That's what a manager does. So thank God my new migraine medication is also a blood pressure medication, which has helped me stay down here.
Wow. So I don't what are the chances there?
Oh yeah.
Coming in clutch.
My neurologist was like, this actually might help you a little bit. And I was like, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's so good.
So that was this week. I had to work all weekend.
Yeah.
On that. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not mad about it. It's part of the job. It's just, it's been a while since I've had a label really mess something up.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off. Because I'm like, in my email, I was like, this is a really important project to me and to the artist.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like we would really think that like the label would understand that every time they help you, they are helping their artist, which which will help the label. Like it's just
how they get their coin back.
I don't get it. When you got Bruno Mars, I guess you can bloody fuck anyone over. It's
exactly.
It's just like I oh God, it would suck. I can see why so many artists go independent. I feel.
Oh yeah.
Because it would just be like. Yeah, it's wild. Shout out to my agent for not being like that for me.
Honestly,
but he could be at any point, and that's the thing.
That's fine.
they could all turn on you at any point. I feel
exactly. Things can always go horrible. Mm-hmm. How was your week?
It was good. It was good. It was very stressful.
All right.
Very stressful. Very stressful. It's very. I'm in rush mode. I think it's a. The show is now, as of today, we're less than 10 days away. We've reached single digits, which is scary. But, it's all encompassing because it's like, it has to be, I want it to go so well. A lot of people coming, a lot of people I respect coming, and I don't have a chance to test it before it goes on. So it's a bit scary, but I think it's good. I think it'll be really fun. I think I just got to get up there and have a laugh. So I've just been spending the week like trying to refine it, make it better, writing the closing number, which is now complete. I am finishing on a 5-minute long musical number. It was originally 2 minutes, and then I tried it, and I was like, the people will want more, so I made it to 5 minutes because it's the it's the full. Just a karaoke song, really, but I've changed the lyrics. It's a musical song about graphic design. Would you believe that is possible?
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
I thought we had already covered it with the Roger
Roger Coles, yeah, the camper guy. Yeah. Well, it was very, yeah. Oh, yeah. Friend of the pod. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, true. I guess he was the original. Yeah. So that actually gives me a bit of confidence, actually, because I really liked the song. So I'm like, okay, good,
channel your inner Roger.
I can do it. I can do it. I just don't have his moves, and I'm trying to start like doing some kind of. It will open with some kind of dance.
Okay.
But just to get me out of, if I can dance at the start, I can do a whole fucking show.
It's like,
right? Like
that's
the
equivalent of barking.
Yeah, 100%.
Get it out.
Well, that's also, there is also barking in the show.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
I think there is actually a bark. I don't know. It's pretty crazy, but it's that's kind of the point. If anyone here is expecting just some normal stand up when they see the show, if you're coming, it is less stand up. Yeah, throw it out the window. There is a stand up section within the show, which I've tested on UCAL, which I thought was that was fun. That was you seemed to enjoy it. That was meant to be bad, by the way. That's the point.
No, it was not bad.
It's fun.
It's camp. It was funny.
Great, love it. I'm honored, and that was a good confidence boost. So I think it'll be fun. But that's what I spent most of the week doing, and then just like trying to truly lock in. And there's just a bunch of other stuff that I've also got due, like the week after the show. But I mean, getting a lot of work, which is pretty cool. Booked and busy for like the rest of the year, which is really nice. When I thought this was particularly usually a slow time in the year for like sponsored gigs and stuff, but they've been. What's annoying is that they're holiday. All. Yeah, oh, it's true. I didn't even think that this. I'm usually like, early January is like usually when things start kicking, but they've been like, "Are you interested in this project?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they go, "Cool." So production time is August to September, and this was like 2 days ago. I heard from this one company, and I'm like, we've got a week left of August. What do you mean production time is like? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Like why are we doing this all last minute? But yeah, I'm excited. I'm keen to see how the next few weeks play out, and then I get to finish it all with a lovely holiday to Japan at the end of October, which will be so necessary. We're going to the Kirby Cafe. We're going to Ghibli Park. We've got tickets sorted. All this shit. It's so good, and I need a break, and then I need to move to New York. So. Will I relax? Will I be able to relax? Yeah, legit. Will I be able to switch off for any second? Right, that's the thing. Once I get there, in the heart of winter, freezing cold snow, in a place, maybe I'll have accommodation. We don't know. With a suitcase and a rag on a stick. Then I'll be.
You can be out with the rats.
Oh yeah. They'll let them in. I'll home them.
You'll always have friends in New York
sublet.
City.
Truly, they are. Everywhere. They are everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, that's been my week. Hey, Kel, speaking of the word week, should we do our song of the week?
Yeah. And then we can introduce our new segment.
Yes. I spoiled it. I'm so sorry.
Bury the lead.
Don't worry, everyone. Just forget what you said. Anyway, we'll do the song of the week.
Okay.
Go for it.
Wait.
You go first. I can go first.
I'm trying to think. What do I want to do? What do I do? Oh my God. I want to like pick something from the new Sabrina Carpenter album because I really like it.
We've got like nearly 400 saves on the Song of the Week playlist as well, which is so sick.
Gorgeous.
And thank you everyone for all the Spotify reviews, by the way. If you haven't yet, feel free to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We have 667 reviews over there, which is such a big number. One over the devil's number, would you believe? Wouldn't that be ridiculous? 666?
Wow.
I would have, if I saw that, I would have deleted the podcast on the spot. But yeah, thanks for the reviews and also thanks for signing up on the Patreon as well for all those lovely people. Thanks for the love and generous
Great
support.
people over there.
Well, you guys are the best. Much appreciated.
Okay, I think my song, I will go with Time Lapse by Dora Jar.
Huge.
And
it's actually, would you believe it's recommended to be added to the playlist right now at the bottom of the kelliot song of the week. It is there. It's the fourth one down. There you go. That's I like Dora Jar. It's figuring it out. I don't think I've listened to Dora Jar before. Wait, yes, I have.
Cool. I feel like you would like her song Polly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, it itches my brain in a nice way.
I like that.
Also, good hype song, even though it's a really weird song, but I really like it.
Nice. I do like hype songs as well. I'm seeking them specifically right now.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
wow,
yours?
I need them on 24/7. And then it contrasted with some really light piano. Or just nothing sometimes. My song of the week is a song called Dry Fruit by the band Sugar Plant from the album Dry Fruit. Would you believe it's it's good because it's in lowercase. Both the artist name and the song name, the entire album, all in lowercase. It is a Japanese band back from the early 2000s, late 1990s, who were like a cult classic in the US and Japan, like back in the day, apparently. It's like quite dream poppy, very relaxing electronic kind of stuff, very chill, lovely music to listen to. And all the songs are quite long. Like you get the sense of the song and then they drag it out for even longer, which is really nice if you're looking for just something to have on. It's 10 songs and it's an hour and 2 minutes long, the album. So it's a real, it's lovely. Sometimes it sounds like a bit of elevator music, but if you're into that stuff, then this is for you.
I think there are moments where I need elevator music.
Yeah, right. Sense. It's just like upmarket elevator music, I would say. Like for the sophisticated ear. Elevator.
For the sophisticated. And we're always coming back to elevators, everyone.
Oh, yeah, legit. Imagine hearing that as an artist being like, oh, what do you think of my music? It's like, oh, it's like elevator music, but for the sophisticated ear. I'd be like, so it's still, you'd still think of it as elevator music.
Do you know what elevator music is?
Yeah. And then, I'm so sorry for saying that.
Gorgeous.
Wish my elevator had music. Anyway, great segment. That's the song of the week.
All right.
Should we do the news? Should we do? I'm so giddy just thinking about it. I gotta find.
I know. I have to go. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this for our new segment, and then I forgot what it's called. Let me go get it.
Yeah, legit. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even think about one. I might go with an old classic actually for this one. I might be a bit cheeky.
Ooh, be a bit shaky. Okay, do you want to explain the segment? I can explain the segment. Up to you.
This is you. You were the one who came to me with the idea. Please.
Okay, well, it's nothing groundbreaking.
This is revolutionary stuff.
Guys, because this is a graphic design podcast, we do feel like it is pertinent to do something maybe graphic design related every once in a while. So we are introducing a segment similar to the Song of the Week. We are going to be adding every week a font / typeface that we are enjoying. It doesn't have to necessarily be one that we're using a lot because I hate change. But every once in a while, I get really excited about a typeface that I try to implement into a bunch of projects, or sometimes it doesn't make any sense for me to use it in a project, but I just like it and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to pick one every week. And I definitely had one. Where did it go? Elliot, do you have one off the top of your head?
I do have one. I was going to play it safe this week and go for one that I have been using for months and I still keep using it. And it is one that I get asked a lot of the time, like, what is this font? It's only fair to disclose it. Because you know me, I love gatekeeping. I keep that gate kept shut. As we all know, I never say anything I never give any details or transparency about anything I do. Never, because doing that would mean I would go broke. I would lose everything I have. That's the consequence of telling people stuff, right? Anyway, it's a classic. It's a classic. It's been out for a while. You might know it. It is the one and only Ozic by New Form Type, a lovely type foundry who have been oh so nice to me and given me so many fonts for free, which is one of the perks of the job. Not gonna lie. That was one of the most unexpected things. It is one of the perks.
They're like, hey, I'm just working on this. If you want to test it out. And I'm like, do I want to test it out?
Like, what? Okay. And then I go can I purchase a license? And they're like, oh no, this is the licensed font. And I'm like, what? Huh? People are ridiculously generous.
Well, can I still pay for you? Now I feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah, legit.
Please
exactly.
let me pay you.
But I do see, it does, I know that I'm thinking back to early days of Pangram when I was I exclusively used Pangram. They sent me clothes and shit. They sent me every single, I have access to every single font, all their clothes, just because I use them so much and recommend them so much that I think it's just worth it. To continue that, because I do just talk about them all the time. So New Form Type, absolutely lovely people. And Ozic is is just
a banger.
it is truly a banger, especially like a nice tightly kerned lowercase. I can't get enough of it. I think it is it's the title case for Graphic Design Live, if anyone's curious, the poster. There you go. Went with an old faithful. That's my font of the week.
All right. Well, I'm torn, but I feel like I'll go with one that I do use a lot. And if you watched our Canva talk, you're gonna be like, "Oh, groundbreaking." But my typeface of this week, and this is always gonna be very difficult for me to pick one every week.
I'm gonna say I don't know many fonts. Well, I do actually. I know a million fonts, but I always want to keep up to date. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 1200 or something.
Mine this week is Tetsuro from Vocal Type by Trey Seals, which is one of, if not my favorite type foundries.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I really admire Trey and what he does, and he sends me typefaces that he's working on, and it's always a pleasure to receive an email from him. So it's a really, really wonderful display sans serif title case font that was modeled after MLK's I am a man signs. And it was named after Tetsuro Matsuda, who was commissioned for the sign for a storefront. And the storefront sign said, "I am an American," and that's where it comes from. So it's named after him. It's a really cool typeface. I use it all the time where it makes sense. But I think like people always try to emulate retro or vintage type styles, and the true way to do it is go after a revival typeface. So those are typefaces that are explicitly taking type that already existed, that might be from like it's just not a font that exists right now, but it maybe used to be like a hand-laid typeface. So reviving that into a modern file, if you will. So that's the best way to do it. And I think if you're looking for true, like, retro typefaces, primarily sans serif typefaces, which is what I use most often when I am looking for something to feel more old school. That's what I'll go for, but I'll use a lot of my fonts from Vocal Type because I feel like they are done extraordinarily well. Their most popular typeface is definitely Martin.
I love Martin
Marsha.
so much.
Those are the two first ones that I bought from them, and I use them probably more than any other font. Like it's really remarkable. But Tetsuro is another really awesome one. So
yeah, it's very cool to use a font that's genuinely vintage in a way that's not like trying to look vintage or look like it's part of the time. It's like, oh no, you can actually here is a reference image.
It's actually of the time.
It's there. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's such a cool idea. Something I never really even just now, like the idea of a revival type, like the phrasing of the word, the terminology. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
It's the proper name.
The proper name. It's the scientific name.
Yeah.
Fuck, fonts are cool. Guys, cheers to fonts as I sip on my Mandarin soda.
Cheers.
Fonts.
Fonts.
Call them a typeface and we'll block you from the Patreon. We'll ban you from supporting us.
Ooh, gosh. It's like, take a hike, bucko.
Yeah, bucko.
Have you tried having fun? Have you tried relaxing?
Typeface is font is part of the typeface. Font is underneath the typeface. Font styling of the typeface. It's like, okay, how about I punch you in the face? How about that?
Have you tried actually
type punching you in the face? How about I do that? How about I have some fun type punching you in the face? How about there's something there? That's a post.
There you go.
Oh, I gotta make a reel of that.
Clip it and ship.
Maybe I should make a reel of like someone who's like will always correct you on typeface and font and stuff. That could be funny. Yeah, actually.
It's the emoji, the nerd.
Little bucktooth like
that's every time somebody's like, oh, it's actually a typeface. I'm like, actually, it's a typeface.
Yeah. actually, a font. Sorry. The segment should be called Typeface of the Week.
I'm sorry.
Actually, Adobe is a good company.
Elliot.
Is that a segue? Yeah,
beautiful
there we go.
segue. Guys,
yay!
we are going to be talking about Adobe for the second half of this episode. And this is something that I want to cover in a much, much, much more in-depth format eventually. Likely, I will do it on my YouTube channel. Where's George? Okay. So this is something that all of us can't escape. It's everywhere we turn, all the time. And there's obviously a lot of like mixed feelings about Adobe and their prevalence in our space. So, Elliot, do you have any thoughts before we get into Adobe?
Yes, I think we have always. Well, look, as someone who I think, especially like as on the content creation space, it's hard not to see Adobe pushing a lot of their ads. Maybe some of your favorite content creators, graphic design people, have been working with them. They do a lot of work. There's a lot of agency stuff. But I have stopped working with them for a while ago when I kind of, you kind of start learning shit and you start seeing how they interact with even like the creators themselves and how they respect things. There is a certain kind of, I think, inevitability with Adobe. It's always going to be there. It feels like it's always like the one that people think of. And you throw the word industry standard around a lot, which is something that I think you, Kel, have more, we were talking about it the other day and I was like, oh, okay, I can see how like it's actually like there is a forcible standard to it. But I think that it has such an amazing hold and grip on the design industry, and even designers, even people who aren't in the industry, will know Adobe as well. Like it is the word Adobe, the word Photoshop is such a thing. Whereas
it's such
Blender,
like a
for
household
example,
name at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like just this thing. It's like if you were a graphic designer, you Photoshop. That's your job, right?
It's like a Kleenex or a Band-Aid. Yeah, it's like to retouch something is to Photoshop omnipresent. Something.
It's truly fascinating. It's a dictionary word, Photoshop. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's just, I do think there is change coming and people might notice it as well, that there is some kind of change. There's been a lot of news about it, which we're going to cover, which dare I say may be a bit overdue considering how this has happened for so long. But we are going to cover a lot of stuff. And I think that hopefully this might open your eyes to maybe if you don't know about some of the Adobe stuff that's been going on, or if you are convinced that Adobe is the only way and maybe you don't want to pay the $80 Australian a month, that there are other options that exist USD. As well. Wow. It truly is amazing how we just do that. And even though there are other options that I don't think we legally can talk about on this podcast. I'm not sure how that works. Not sure how that works. We all know what we're thinking of. But yeah, that's my big intro sense to it. But yeah, Kel, what do you want to say about it?
Well, So guys,
actually,
the funny thing is, like both Elliot and I have worked with Adobe. I don't work with them. Like I knew Adobe was bad before I started working with them. But then they offered to fly me up to San Francisco and put me up in a hotel and pay for like a bunch of meals. And I was like, that sounds fun. I want to do that.
Got a lot of money. They got a lot of money.
I didn't get paid. But
and that's the thing. This is the thing as well. That I want to go into the shit. Like the way they treat, it's very interesting. We've been treated very nicely by people, other companies,
and
other companies
you would think have less
money. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
So, we have that bias, and my biggest thing is I would love to use something other than Adobe. The big issue that I have, and this really doesn't apply to everyone in the industry, but some people are more backed into these corners than others. For me, I have so much client-facing work, and it's not just like my clients, like my artists on my roster, but like people in the intermediary, people in management, people and like A&R teams, marketing teams, like they are using my files sometimes. And so I can't just have like another third party program because I'm constantly handing files off. So that creates an issue. if I'm not using like a Photoshop file primarily, like that's what everybody wants. God forbid I send an Illustrator file, people bust a nut. But it's annoying because I have to there's always that expectation that I am sending Photoshop files. So if I were to change to a third-party program, I'm creating kind of a hiccup in that process where, yes, you can convert files, but the best thing is to just flatten them into a PNG or something, or like a PDF. But there are limitations with that. So that's kind of like, I'm kind of trapped into that. There are some people in my space, specifically in merchandise, who use non-Adobe programs. And one of my mentors that I've spoken with for years, who has helped guide me with a lot of like professional stuff, he uses paint.net. And
incredible.
I got to give it to him, man. He's someone who's very committed on his views. He's also an anarchist, and he's very like steadfast on not using Adobe. And I have so much respect for that because he stays booked and busy. He is wonderful to work with. I've hired him for projects, and he's well-oiled machine. So I think he's had kind of more of like that space to be able to make those accommodations of, I know I can do my process. I hand off just flat PNGs. But I work more on the other side beyond merch now. I'm doing so much more than merch that I have more of like, I don't have as much flexibility because I'm working just with more teams, that I have to make my job easy for them, or they will not want to work with me and they will not hire me. That's ultimately what it comes down to is, really small things like that can bubble into bigger problems of clients not wanting to work with you anymore. And stuff like that has come up with like the way some people send files even. It's like it makes more work for other people on the other end, where it's adding time to their day to then go and like convert something or to like adjust a file in any way. It makes those hiccups in the process.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I feel like there's also like less of a, like I hate it, but I've like got the internalized thought that like if someone was like, oh, I made this in Affinity, like there's this weird, even though it's just like the baseline, I guess, like using Adobe projects, using something in anything else loses like this weird prestige that it, like, I'm like, oh, so you're not as like professional. Like it's just weird and I can't shake it. Like it's just like a guaranteed thing. And it's like, I mean, I'm having the feel where it's like, I'm in talks with like Affinity right now, like for some work and stuff like that. We've been talking for fucking ages. And like, I am in a position where I can make the swap because all the stuff that I do is just for me and it's just being posted online. People just see the end result. It doesn't really matter. And like, you know, you see Affinity, it's like they're offering us, for anyone out there wondering, Affinity are offering literally a 6-month-long free trial. A 6-month-long free trial, which is,
and
I've never heard of that in anything. Oh yeah.
They're
lovely
wonderful.
people. Wonderful people. Had drinks with them at some bar in LA. Lovely people. They are so sure of keeping, even though that they've just been bought out by Canva, and a lot of people's fears are like, oh, they've been bought out by a big company, it's going to go in that direction, a subscription's going to come in and all that stuff. They are so certain of keeping the values that they started the company with. The people who work there are the people who started Affinity. Like it's just them. It's like this small core team who just really care about making a product that can compete with Adobe and that can like listen to designers. And you can, I don't know, I've sensed clients talk bullshit on calls before, but when you talk to these guys, like the marketing guys are like on the product team as well. Like they're just, it's not, they don't have like a separate agency that works. It's just them. You're just talking to them.
Too. Yeah. Like they're not like a company of like 10,000 people. Like they're just a small group of
like
people.
It's like 20 of them or something, or like 200 or something. Like I feel like it's tiny, and it's like
it's much smaller than Adobe's employee base. Yeah, significantly.
And then I still like feel like, I don't know, if I start making YouTube videos and I go time to design and I start designing in Affinity, I'm gonna lose viewership because people aren't watching me design at Adobe. I'm like, that's such a weird. It's like there is just this inherent respect about Adobe for some reason that is painful. But it's like, I do think something like that is swapping. But yeah, like I can't even imagine like try and have the guts to not use Adobe when everyone else in the team that's passing the file along is using Adobe. Like that's where like I've always like tried to say industry standards is like the made up term.
It's a very loose, it is,
but it is a thing. Yeah.
Industry standard because it's just the best choice. It's like industry standard because of a monopoly, and we've just been kind of shoved into this corner, and then they're like standing over us and they're like, you can leave whenever you want, and you're like, actually I can't. Legit. I can't use like anything else.
They're not the industry standard. They just have a monopoly over it. We just everyone's just using them because everyone is using them because they've been the one and only for so long. Even if they weren't the one and only, they just made it. They had the backing to make themselves be the one. Yeah,
they're being promoted by every major educational institution. They're being taught. I was taught Adobe in high school. I got it included in my tuition in college. It's every agency that I've worked for, every company has always been Adobe, and there's never been any room for anything else, because when you're working in the industry, there's no time like to dick around and use another program. It's always go, 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 go as fast as possible. So there's rarely like that space and time to sit down with a new program or to even just converting a file. Like it's just, nobody wants to do it because it affects the bottom line. It affects the workflow of a team, and it's shitty that it is that way. And I don't know how to break the cycle.
Oh no, exactly. It's so frustrating as well. Like if I could, I would, I don't know what happened to it, but I somehow am now using Adobe 2024. And I think it's because a plugin that I wanted to use is doing that. I wanted to stay on Adobe Photoshop 2021 till the day I die. Like that was my program, you know. And
that was your peak.
That was my peak. That was my favorite version of Photoshop. And it's like, it's very frustrating when what you're using is getting almost worse or just not what you want it to be as it goes on. And everyone's saying like, oh, why don't you just add this? We don't want this. Why are you doing this? And then they don't really listen. They just kind of keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then it's like talking to the Affinity team. They're like, Elliot, here's Affinity. You can just, there you go, have it. And let us play around with it and let us know which features you want to add. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
do you have any ideas?
Yeah, they're like, we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear. And I'm like, this is just
they're like British. They're like, oh,
legit.
Let us know. You know.
Don't worry. Like, don't think too. You know, don't worry too hard about it. It's just like, you know, if you get around the chance. And I'm like, this is so lovely and so genuine. And it's just, I hate the grip that they have, Adobe, especially on ads, and the way that they're the only program, I think, because I've always like bucketed the design programs is like more, you either get like more an Adobe blank slate kind of program, or you get more of a Canva template based one. And you get a lot more of those Canva, like Kiddle is one that like put a lot of money into like ads. So you see them on YouTube, Instagram from creators and all that. Whereas on the Adobe side, you only really see Adobe pushing money to creators. Like even I don't get in my inbox any other kind of program because the money just isn't there. Like Affinity, the money wasn't there until they got bought out by Canva, right? Now they actually have a chance to compete on the marketing side. And the amount of agencies that Adobe work with pushing to all your every single graphic designer on Instagram, just being like, hey, will you make a reel about generative fill? Will you make a reel about this new AI feature? Will you make
we'll
this?
Fly you to one of our offices. You can do a live session.
Do you want to be an Adobe ambassador? Oh yeah, it's like, here, be an Adobe ambassador.
Come to Adobe
but you can't get Adobe for free. Oh yeah, and it's just like this constant like barrage of like, we are the ones. You should be honored to be working with Adobe. And I think you see people in comments congratulate, oh, get that Adobe bag, oh, you did it, like you're working with Adobe, that's so cool. It's like, this is the peak, as I'm a graphic designer working with Adobe.
It was when they invited me, I was like, oh my God, like, and this was in like 2019, so it was like a huge deal to be like, oh my God, Adobe's gonna fly me. And I remember like telling people like from my job, because I was like, I have to take time off because I have to go to Adobe, like this is a really big thing, and everybody's like, oh my God, this is a huge thing. And then I went and I was like, oh
yeah,
this is where the money is going. I see now. I see now. It's a mighty fine office you got there.
Oh yeah, it's just like so. It's like it all feels so backwards. I was reading something today about like employee opinions, like some leaked messages in some Slack group chats and stuff from employees talking about how much they hate the direction where it's going and all this shit. And it's like, it really just feels like there's something is just not right, and it's like so fixable from a distance, but they just don't seem to do it. And it's Bizarre.
Well, Elliot, I think I know why.
Here we go.
All right, guys. So we're getting into the meat of the matter today. Now, did I spend a significant time on this? No, but I did spend some time pulling together some stuff. I don't spend much time thinking about Adobe because I don't care. They're just a tool in my toolbox, and they're slowly getting worse. So I just want to cover a little bit of a background on Adobe, kind of like how they started versus what they were like 10, 15 years ago versus what they're doing now. And holy hell, has their mission statement changed so much since their inception. So Adobe was founded in 1982 by John Warnock and Charles Geschke, I think, in Mountain View, California, which is Northern California. It's Silicon
Sorry, did you
Valley.
say Mountain Dew, California?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Call me
crazy.
JD Vance. Oh my God.
It's not JD Vance. It's Tim Walls. Okay, he's the Mountain Dew guy.
I thought it's JD Vance.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill myself.
He's the one who was like, they got me a Mountain Dew in the green room. He said he was the one who said they're going to cancel you for saying Mountain Dew, for drinking Mountain Dew or something like that.
Wait, they both drink it?
Now that
Diet Mountain. Okay, ew, Diet Mountain Dew.
Truly bizarre.
Anyway, so the name Adobe comes from a creek in Los Altos called Adobe Creek, a stream that ran behind John Warnock's house. The stylized
I went to Adobe
A.
Creek and no one knew. And sorry, I can't help myself.
The A in their logo was designed by Marva Warnock, John Warnock's wife. And the company didn't start out with creating the programs that we know them now as, but instead started as I'm going to do my best, guys, to explain this. I don't fully understand it. A stack-based programming language called PostScript. It is a page description language commonly used in electronic and desktop publishing. And what does that mean, Elliot?
Oh, yeah. Then I'm going to reveal what that means in the bonus episode.
So PostScript was the first international standard for computer printing, as it included algorithms describing the letter forms of many languages. Steve Jobs tried to buy the company for $5 million in 1982, but his offer was refused. Their investors of PostScript pressured them into actually selling to Steve Jobs. So they sold company stock to Steve Jobs plus a license to use PostScript. Now, I don't really know exactly what that means. Seems important for building computer programs, especially
maybe that's why
in
it's
the
so good
80s.
on Mac. Because it's Apple
yes,
money.
they did initially sell it to Apple.
Yeah.
So by the mid 80s, Adobe entered the software market with Adobe Illustrator for the Apple Macintosh computer. I thought Photoshop came out first. Illustrator came out first.
I did as well. Have you seen like clips of the original, like people trying to use the original Illustrator on YouTube and stuff? It's wild. It's wild. You can do some really cool stuff in it. A lot of like black and white, like halftone effects and shit. Like very. Yeah. I don't know if you've used Flipnote Studio on the Nintendo DS, where you can draw stuff. It's very much like that. Surprisingly, like it's like almost like I feel like it's very similar. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. We should do that.
We should.
Yeah, Illustrator grew out of the firm's in-house font development software, which helped popularize PostScript-enabled laser printers. By the mid-1990s, Adobe would either develop or acquire Photoshop from Frame Technology corporations and After Effects, as well as Premiere, or what became Premiere Pro, initially releasing it in 1991. Around the same time as the development of Illustrator, Adobe entered the NASDAQ Composite Index in August of 1986, so it went public. A class action lawsuit, jumping forward a bit, getting into the fun stuff, alleging that the company suppressed employee compensation. So it was filed against Adobe and 3 other Silicon Valley-based companies in a California federal court in 2005. 2013. In May of 2014, it was revealed that the four companies, Adobe, Apple, Google, and Intel, had reached an agreement with the plaintiffs, 64,000 employees of the four companies, to pay a sum of $324.5 million to settle the lawsuit. So there's a lot of stuff that's gone on with Adobe internally, with union busting, their use of international labor as a way of exploiting international labor, which pretty much run a good chunk of like the programming and customer support of companies like Adobe. So there's that. That's a whole other can of worms that is something for another day of their internal strife, if you will. As you mentioned,
there's their values, what they stand for,
what they stand for,
things that they built the company on to what it is today. Yep.
So, now Adobe has almost 30,000 employees with an annual revenue of $19.4 billion. By 2011, Adobe introduced the Creative Cloud for the first time for a $600 a year subscription, as opposed to their previous $2,000 perpetual license for the entire suite. Adobe announced a $20 billion acquisition of Figma, an Adobe X competitor, in September of 2022, which is its largest acquisition to date. Regulatory scrutiny from the U.S. and European Union began shortly after due to concerns that Adobe, already a major player in the design software market with XD, would have too much control if it also shared Figma. At the time of the announcement to acquire Figma, Adobe's share over the creative software market and design software market was almost a monopoly, one could say. In December of 2023, the two companies called off their merger, citing the regulatory challenges as a sign to both that the deal was not likely to be approved. Adobe paid Figma a $1 billion termination fee per their merger agreement. So,
big Adobe L.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. It would be really great if maybe the U.S. government was a little bit harsher on the amount of corporate acquisition that goes on in the U.S., because this is kind of like a major problem, and as to why so many things are so expensive all the time, it's largely due to like corporate greed and price gouging, and that they can just make the money that they want to make to feed their shareholders and not actually improve their product, or to pay the people who are actually peddling the product on the ground, who are actually making them the money.
Yeah.
That the majority of this money is going to their shareholders and not actually to the people who are physically actually doing and making the things that they sell. So that's fun. So here's the kicker. Here's the kicker of stuff that I found out today. This is news to me.
Is this the jump scare?
So this is the jump scare. So Adobe is a publicly traded company. So it means that it is traded on the stock market. As we learned earlier, it went public fairly early on in its career. So that means that people can buy shares of that, and then if those shares do well, they get more money in pocket. Yippee. So
such a fun thing that you can do.
Yeah. And it's instead of it just being like regular folk, having penny stocks, it is large corporations managing literally billions and billions of dollars for other corporations and other like billionaires so they can make more money.
Oh, yeah.
And as we slowly collapse the environment into dust. So the top three shareholders of Adobe are Vanguard Group Incorporated, BlackRock, and State Street Corporation. So, just a little, Vanguard has 41 million shares, or worth of shares, I think. BlackRock has 38.57 million, and State Street has 20. So Vanguard is an investment management firm. It's more complicated than that, but they manage money and assets and stuff to do white collar crime. The kicker here is a little company called BlackRock. Elliot, do you know what BlackRock is?
I know, I hear the name and I go, bad, but I forget as to why. Yeah, I keep thinking, I guess I get it confused with that orca at SeaWorld, the documentary about the orca at SeaWorld that killed the owner. What's that movie called?
Blackfish?
That's the... So So for some
Is
reason,
that
I'm
what
like,
it's
they're
called?
related. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But black, I think I know. I think,
So-
could you tell?
So, guys,
Actually-
BlackRock. Actually, a BlackRock is an asset management firm. Now, if you Google any of these companies, they're all going to say they're asset management firms, and it's a weird way that they can obfuscate what they actually do.
And assets, of course, we're talking about paper textures and fonts and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I was like, oh, so you guys are organizing font files
libraries,
and
yeah.
scans, textures, Photoshop actions.
Please.
But no, they primarily manage gun and weapons manufacturing.
Oh, good.
So there's that. Following
yeah.
the Parkland, Florida school shooting that left 17 people dead, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, was the institutional shareholder of 3 publicly traded gun manufacturers, including the gun that was used in the Parkland shooting. So here's another kicker. Gets worse. BlackRock has $9.7 billion invested in Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin obviously supplied Israel with the F-16 and F-35 fighter jets that have been used in bombing Gaza. So there's that other thing. BlackRock, very bad group, and they are the second largest shareholder of Adobe. So that's really fun. So even when we are funding Adobe, it's like, how does it always go back to war crimes? And it's funny. It's so actually terrifying how everything goes back to how could we, as a globe, perpetuate war crimes. So there's that. A lot more, if you want to look into it, there's a lot of really crazy shit that BlackRock has done. And it's really actually insane how large of a shareholder they are in Adobe and how large of a shareholder they are also in Lockheed Martin. Again, very bad. So
yeah. And shareholders, just because my business, my corporate, I guess, lingo is not all, my corporate hat, I don't have a very strong corporate hat, but shareholders will, a company's job is to please shareholders, right? Otherwise, they will remove shares, which is bad for the company. So they are listening to the wants and needs of these companies. There is an active influence, right? Yeah, okay. Which is obviously bad.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, you're like, well, why do we always have to listen to shareholders? And it's like, well, they have essentially, if you have the majority control over shares in a company, when they do their shareholder meetings, like they have to do, because it's kind of like, how it's like the saying of socialism for the rich type of thing. So it's like how that's what they do with like corporate shareholders. So they'll have all of them together, and then they have like kind of like this input as to how can they make more money? How can they make more money for everyone in the shareholder group, especially for the majority shareholders? Think Succession. So they're obviously going to listen to the shareholders because they have typically majority control. So they have the ability of essentially causing like massive financial collapse for the company if things don't go their way. Right. And that makes everybody very upset when money go bye-bye. So that's where, when we're thinking about corporate greed, that's where the money is going. We're literally talking about, and these corporate shareholders are not just like a guy. It's like that corporate shareholder is actually another wealth management firm, which is like managing other people's accounts and likely other wealth management groups and stuff. It's all so made up and it's just destroying the planet. So there's that. Adobe's current CEO has a total yearly compensation of $44.93 million.
That seems surprisingly. I'm surprised at how low. I thought it was going to be like. Okay.
Wait, it always gets worse.
That's the worst. Yes.
And owns just 0.086% of the company's shares, and that is worth $213.81 million.
There it is.
So they're like, I take a humble salary of almost $45 million, but they also have almost $214 million worth of company stocks. So that's just the CEO. So that's fun.
How is graphic design that big that can be that rich? It's just like I remember like trying to comprehend $20 billion when they threw that
Well,
at Figma.
I'm like, how are you guys making this much money off graphic design?
Legit, it just doesn't make sense.
Where's it coming from?
What the fuck? That means like there's like 1 billion graphic designers using this shit. No, it's
what are you guys paying for? Adobe Acrobat? Is that where the money's coming from? For it to not work?
Do you have full control over the PDF market? Preview is a perfectly fine application that you can find on the MacBook.
They have so many web browser like alternatives. You can sign documents that way. Preview again. I have mine set to default open in preview because God forbid I accidentally open something in Adobe Acrobat.
It sucks so much.
And it's like
a million features.
Whoa there.
What? Yeah.
New update. Do you want to walk through? Do you need step by? No.
Let me summarize this PDF for you, please. Please let me summarize it. It's like, please, I need to know. Do you need to sign it?
Who's using the comment feature?
It's like, relax.
Who are these people?
I've never seen one before. Never seen a comment on a PDF in my fucking life.
I've seen like the sticky notes, but it's never been in like the sidebar.
Yeah.
I've never. I just send me an email, man.
Yeah.
Just send me an email.
Wait until Adobe email. Adobe email be like, here I am. Yeah, update. Look, it's.
Do you want a step-by-step tutorial?
You never think of it as just for like a company that size. You go like, oh, they must have like an everyday kind of use, right? And you never really attach Adobe to that. Like I'm always like, it's so graphic design centric, but they really do have a little bit.
It's like
in
not like the Microsoft
it's dipped
suite.
In everything.
Like,
no.
I could like wrap my mind a little more around Microsoft being so prevalent, but I'm like, there are not this many graphic designers.
Yeah.
Is this some sort of like money laundering? Is the only thing I can assume?
Legit. Because it's like, what's the entry, like everyone needs Microsoft Word. That's the entry level Office suite thing. Like,
even
that's
though we
do
have Google Docs, which is much better.
Yeah, that's very true. And I like how it's browser based. And it's like Adobe, it's like, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is like Photoshop. That's the one that is like probably the most downloaded, most used. But it's like, I don't know many friends who use Photoshop. Like it's just, it's not like one thing that was just going around.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and it's still the same price for every, like it's still, I can't even imagine.
Corporate stuff. Like that's what I can like.
Yeah,
really...
like the enterprise stuff.
Yes.
Because I mean, that's what Canva's trying to go into, which is why I guess.
I would assume
they are
the
still
money
before. Yeah, because they're about to go public as well, which is and the first step is the enterprise stuff. So it must be, like competing with that is the biggest goal because I mean, Canva's trying to become like a Microsoft Office suite alternative. They've got their PowerPoint stuff, but Adobe doesn't have that shit yet. They're still competing, and it's
InDesign.
There must be InDesign to make a PowerPoint. I've done it before, and it's like, God, there must be so much money in enterprise stuff that I don't even consider.
Instead, they go and hound students.
We are small fry. Yeah, legit.
And just fleecing people with like weird loophole terms and agreements. Remember when they like I was one of the people who accidentally got looped into paying for like a year of Adobe stock.
Same here. Yeah.
Like, and then when you're like, hey, what the fuck? They're like,
yeah. Oh, legit. They're like, what? Because it was like, I remember when I first signed up to the Adobe stock free trial, it was like, I looked into it and from what I read, it was a $30 a month Australian program. And the 7-day free trial, once that runs out, you'll start getting charged that $30 a month thing. But I didn't realize, and maybe this is just my media literacy is bad, or my online fucking website literacy is bad, which I doubt. It was, I forgot to cancel it, and then they charged me the $30 a month. That came out of my bank account, and I went, I should cancel it. And then they go, but not only are you paying $30 a month, you've locked into 12 months. Don't you, you idiots? Didn't you realize that? And I'm like, huh?
And then if you download a bunch of stuff, you don't get the rights to it. Like your credits like expire. Like if you cancel the agreement, it's gone. You don't actually have the rights to the photos.
Adobe stock truly the hell on it. Like the worst stock. Like also the images suck on there. And most of them are just AI slop right now as well. Go to Adobe stock, have a browse. It is awful. Slop, absolute slop, and that is
shit from a butt.
Legit, and that is what Adobe Firefly, the Adobe's AI stuff is being generated with. It's slop on slop. It's slop to make slop. The only good thing Adobe ever did was make, I think, generative fill is not generative fill, sorry, content aware fill or whatever. Like just being able to expand an image. Good for them, but fuck me, generative fill is one of the worst. Just nothing, gives you nothing at all, and they peddle it
You're telling me you don't want Kitten at birthday party wearing hat?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have a use for that?
It's, I mean, it's just disappointing. And it's like, that is we can probably talk about the contracts that we can go more into, like the other stuff in the bonus episode potentially. We were meant to do a bonus episode today, and I was worried my energy would be so low, but this has fueled me.
It's the rage of war crimes and
exactly. Shall we take this into a part 2 episode over on the Patreon?
I think so. I think we have to do it. It has to keep going. Because there's more. There's more. There's the most recent terms of service issue that came up earlier this year that we obviously need to talk about. I'm like getting itchy.
yeah. It's just
God.
I really hope something changes. I really hope Canva don't come out to be super bad people as well. But honestly, it's still, it's a big fucking company. It's still,
hey Canva, I know you're listening. Please don't be evil. Same thing with Affinity, guys.
Yeah, please Affinity especially.
There's always opportunity to maybe do the right thing. It may not always be the easiest thing. If you're a little bit of a bad person, it might not be easy. But I think if you're a good person, it is an easy thing to do. So keep that in mind. Being a good person is better than being a bad person.
Is good for business right now as well. You will seem like an angel. You will seem like an angel.
It is. It doesn't make any sense. It's such an American mindset of like, no, we just have to make it as hard as possible because then we'll build people through grit. And it's like, no, actually, if you just give people the things that make them happy, you will just have like a better economy. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Oh yeah.
They're like, no, they need to work for their healthcare. I'm like, no, if you give them healthcare, they will have a more prosperous life. What? Hello?
Yeah. Oh yeah, legit. Really bizarre. But yeah, we will take this over to we will take this over to episode 2 over on the Patreon that you can find at patreon.com/kelliot. Check it out over there. I've also got exciting news. A new Sty Diary will be being posted soon as well.
Gorgeous.
Because it's come back with a vengeance.
It's okay. My eczema on my armpits is also back with a vengeance, so that's fun.
Eczema Diaries. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out. As always, we love you so much. Kelliot.
Forever. Bye, guys.
See ya. Bye.